What's going on, everybody? This is Jacob Shoup. You're watching the Tom O'Brien Show. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. I know mine was relaxing. Cooked a few skirt steaks, made some chimichurri. If you guys want the recipe, you know where to reach me. You can email me at jacob@tfnn.com. It was fantastic. Man, I was out of the office for a little bit today, and I come back just a few hours ago, and the market is just rocking to the upside here. The SPY trading up 0.72%, trading at 605.08. You got the composite trading up about 1.11% at 19,741. The Dow Jones Industrial trading up about 0.33% at 44,448. And you have the Russell futures trading up 0.48%. Now, that is lagging a little bit, at least looking at the E-mini, right, the futures. Whereas what we've seen recently with the Russell, okay, its movements are kind of exaggerated against or along with the rest of the market, mainly the E-mini. So it's interesting to see, you know, again, my whole theory that I was trying to rock with is that you'd have that breadth narrowing a little bit, where your big companies probably, you know, let's say wouldn't get as much attention, and your smaller caps would start seeing some capital flow. And that is, of course, happening. I think there are some risks with smaller companies in the U.S., especially with some of this, some of these programs being cut. But we can talk about that a little bit more later. Look at crude oil as well, trading about 2.08% at $72.47. That is fantastic. My long-term kind of operative play, at least on crude oil, really energy in general, is I'm kind of bearish on it, at least price-wise, mainly because I do believe Trump will try to produce more. There's still not a lot of clarity on how that's going to work in areas like Alaska, right? I mean, I know he wants to open up federal lands for drilling. I think his whole plan, of course, opening up the Sovereign Wealth Fund, will be to utilize some of the land assets that America has, and I think that will be achieved through leasing it for oil production. But of course, there's a lot of stuff that goes into oil production, overhead costs, namely, and it's still kind of up for debate if those regions would be viable, at least produce. Of course, we have the Permian Basin being opened up. And I do believe Trump's long-term plan is to get energy costs down. This, in theory, should reduce inflation everywhere, of course, because energy is always going to be an input for anything that you make. And, of course, you pay less at the pump as well, so that helps in a raw form with CPI. You're taking a look at gold contract trading about 1.59% at 2,933. Man, I mean, what a move. And you've listened to me. I've not been I haven't felt any strong way towards gold. I think there was just stronger alpha elsewhere. But you're really seeing a massive move right now. You're trading, I mean, right under the all-time highs there of 2,938, probably moving towards 3,000. I mean, we were, in the 29th, we were just cresting 2,800. So quite a nice move for gold. We'll take a look at the miners actually right now, at least just the GDX, trading up 2.83% at $42 from a high of 44.22 there. Of course, we'll have Tim Ord on as well on Tuesday. We always appreciate his gold analysis. Take a look at VGZ trading up 2.69%, 66 cents. One of Tom's favorites. Of course, he believed in that in a big way on the long term. Copper trading up 2.5% at $4.70. And you got silver contract trading up about 0.18% at $32.50. Man, copper is getting a bunch of love. We've been kind of anticipating that. Of course, I don't really have a position in copper, but you hear me every time, or you've heard me for a long time say the more we digitalize and we build out this massive infrastructure, copper will be extremely important, especially with just all the automation we're going to have. So this is pretty nice. I want to see what SCCO did over Friday. I believe they had earnings. Oh, they have earnings today. Oh, let's see here. We'll take a look at. Is that right? At least for today, you had Rockwell Automation, which did very well. I'll take a closer look at this. I thought they had earnings on Friday, but it looks like it might be at 5 p.m. Eastern time today. So we'll be paying attention to that. Of course, you know, some of these monitors can always lag the movement in the spot price, but we'll see what happens with SCCO. That's a nice kind of pure copper play there. Apple trading up 0.03%. Celsius off about 3.93%. Disney kind of cracking down a little bit after earnings. And then, of course, with that sympathy play of Fubo, that is off 3.16%. Palantir still rocking to the upside, up 4.25%. You're getting a lot of bullish sentiment in Palantir. People saying this should be a $1 trillion market cap, the same way all of your Magnificent Sevens are. So, you know, we're trading at 252 billion market cap. Not that I necessarily agree with that valuation. We were trading at a PE of 609. But it is inarguable that Palantir is basically supporting the automation campaign from the military, so you know that creates a nice floor. And of course, we're really excited about them getting in to kind of the civilian and enterprise realm, which they've seen a lot of growth in, especially over the last quarter. UZ trading up 3.95%, and Tesla cracking down 353. Man, we were talking about this, right? This is the first time that I've said we should maybe be bearish, and it actually worked out. It was very rare that being bearish on Tesla worked in your favor, but we are now really hitting this 350 mark. I am still on the long term, again, end of May, maybe beginning of June, at a 280, 275 for Tesla. I think you're seeing a massive problem in China. European EV growth is increasing. Tesla is losing that market share. Chinese markets are rejecting Tesla. You have BYD, who was able to put self-driving in their cars, which are far cheaper than Tesla's. And I'm not so sure that the optimist push is going to save this equity from correcting down, to around September levels, or maybe at least before Trump rally levels. The way that I would look at Tesla on this, right? I mean, it's clear they have pushed the envelope in ways that other companies have not, and that should be something that is recognized within Tesla. Of course, Elon Musk heading SpaceX. I mean, that is a phenomenal company. The guy at the helm is able to generate real value, right? I personally think there is a level of exuberance in Tesla that pushed it up to that 488.54 that I don't know maybe that it should be at that level. I think what's going to end up having to happen with Tesla is you settle somewhere around that September price level, and then they prove themselves going forward. If Optimus works, that's phenomenal. But I think the market is concerned mainly of illiquidity, right? So they want to pull themselves out of some of these more speculative high growth stocks. And then I think that's really one of the main things, right? I think a lot of these companies in the Magnificent Seven showed kind of decelerating growth, and people are a little concerned with that. Maybe it's time to put it somewhere else. And maybe we put it in 10 years, or maybe you put it in gold, or maybe you put it in the rest of the S&P 500 that hasn't been looked at. I mean, you take a look at Rockwell. This is the S&P 500. This did quite well today. We'll talk a little bit about Rockwell when we get back. But folks, stay right there.